Haribol. Harmonium, please. Give harmonium. Madhava style. Madhava style. Хари Кришна. Слышно, слышно. This works. Not very loud, but works. We can start? Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Brajajana Ranjana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashana Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Ramo Ramo Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ramo Ramo Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are starting today wonderful Srimad Bhagavad Gita, first canto, not canto, first chapter, first verse. Hare Krishna. It doesn't work again. It's not much need of this, yeah? It doesn't work. Haribo. It works? Okay. Then it's okay, yeah. For us it's no need to make it loud. Yeah, it's okay. Hare Krishna. So, today I wanted to make some little introduction to Bhagavad Gita about this history, what's happening, why it's happened. You all know this, but it's nice to hear it. And then we will read some verse and maybe discuss something from this verse. I wanted to read from this setting the scene. It's for the introduction or for read and maybe say something about this. Should I do this now or better to start with verse and then come to this?
Whatever you like.
We can start with this. Yeah, it explains that Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata. Maybe even nice before nice to make a prayer. Yeah. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutare Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhishya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanipyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaham. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, yeah, Bhagavad Gita, it's a part of Mahabharata. Big Sanskrit history of ancient world. Mahabharata tells us about events what was before starting of this age of Kali Yuga. It was 50 centuries ago, 5,000 years ago, and then Krishna spoke this Bhagavad Gita to his friend and devotee Arjuna. So this discourse, one of the greatest philosophical and religious dialogues known to man, took place just before the onset of war. A great fratricidal conflict between the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra and on the opposing side their cousins and Pandavas or sons of Pandu. So there was two brothers, Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Who was their father?
Pandu father?
Yeah, they was brothers.
After
They,
this Vasudeva's son, there was Panda and the other Dhritarashtra. They were brothers. And
they have different fathers.
Yeah.
Brothers from different fathers. Uh-huh.
I think Vasudeva Dhritarashtra.
Both are his sons.
Both sons of Yasadev. Uh-huh. Yeah, and they all was how you call this? They born in Kuru dynasty, descending from King Bharata. All this like this Mahabharata is because of this Bharata. He was like king, emperor of the world some time ago. His descendants, this Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Yeah, they were brothers, and after this previous king, he left his body. We have this. Previously, there was this tradition. There was no election. There was like this tradition that how to say, senior son will become next king. Even Prabhupada was giving a class in London. He was mentioning that he said in your country also the same, but it's not only about brother, but even like young, even like sister can become a king or like queen, and like there was like Queen Elizabeth, or Elizabeth. And he was saying that but she was also mentioned Prabhupada that in that time previously woman didn't get this position, because he mentioned Chanakya Pandit. Chanakya Pandit, he was like a great politician. He was saying that woman cannot take this position.
As a queen.
Even like some like who in some as a queen. As a queen. But even like in general, Prabhupada, as I understand, he mentioned about woman cannot take position of some leader. He was mentioned about Kunti, mother of Pandavas. Yeah, Kunti, mother of Pandavas. He was saying she was very like elevated person. She was very like knowledgeable, educated, and she was very like advanced. But she was following her sons, because her like father left his body. It's Pandu, her husband. He left his body, and but Pandu. Even when Pandavas they went to forest, to this exile, and Kunti went with them. Yeah, Prabhupada was saying that this position is for men. Yeah, it's I will not speak much about this topic, especially now we don't have ladies, because now is Kali Yuga. Everything is like, how you call this, ups and down, upside down. Difficult to explain all these things. So and coming back to our this history, there was two brothers, Dhritarashtra and Pandu. And Pandu, he left his body when he was young, and then Dhritarashtra, he became a king, but he was blind, and but he became a king, and he has sons. He has many sons, as I understand, 100 sons. Yeah, he has hundreds of sons, and there was also Pandavas, who the sons of Pandu. There was also he was how to say, take care of them. And these 5 Pandavas: Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadeva. And they was living together. They was like getting some education, even in military science. Dronacharya was teaching them. Great Dronacharya, and Bhishma Deva also. Yeah, he was like a grandfather. They all got very nice education. It looks like that time nobody knows that one day they will come together in Kurukshetra and will have to fight. They was getting this education, but because this material world, in material world there is one quality. Prabhupada mentioned this. It's envy, and this sons of Dhritarashtra, especially Duryodhana, he was envious to these Pandavas. And gradually he became more and more envious, and he didn't want that they also can, because envy, it means if somebody, how to say, have right for something, and you don't want that they have this. Like, I don't know, you have like, it's like if we have something together, we have some apartment, like husband and wife, or like some sisters, brothers, they live together, they have some apartment, and maybe it belongs to everyone, and some of them can think that this apartment shouldn't belong to them, it should belong only to me. It's happened in material world quite often, and many like how to say this, murders, when people kill somebody, murder. Yeah, it happens because of this, because people want to have something, but and they don't accept that somebody also have a right for this, and because of this envy. This envy is a side of this material world, because people think that everything, not everything, but something belongs to them. But people in spiritual world, they have different mentality, different attitude. They believe that everything belongs to God. They want to use this for God, and they take also, they like don't want to live like how to exploit others and live and how you call this, to take something from others when it's not good. So, and there was this envy, and so we will discuss this later. And there was some attempt. Duryodhana with Dhritarashtra consent plotted to kill the young sons of Pandu, and it was only by the careful protection of their uncle Vidura and their cousin Lord Krishna that the Pandavas escaped the many attempts against their lives. So Duryodhana wanted to kill them. Do you remember how he was doing this? Yeah, one I remember that he wanted to, how you call this, put fire. He wanted to how you call this? Burn house. Yeah. What else? Do you remember? Poison. Is it like in Russia there was like one opposition of Putin, it's Navalny, and Navalny, Putin also, I don't know, we cannot say 100% who was put poison for this Navalny, but Navalny he was in opposition of Putin, and he got this poison. He got to hospital. Not he didn't die, he still live, but he got many problems. He was like his hands like shaking, and it happens all the time. Because of this envy, people want to kill. Something else? Poison? Something else? But then it was this, and then it was this also, and Vidura wanted to protect them, and also Krishna, he liked Pandavas, and Krishna was not ordinary man. Krishna was a supreme personality of Godhead. He came to this earth, and he was playing a role of prince, and in this role, he was also the nephew of Pandu, wife Kunti, mother of Pandavas. So Krishna favored the righteous sons of Pandu and protected them. So, and then it was some case when Duryodhana, clever Duryodhana, challenged the Pandavas to a gambling match. In the course of that fateful tournament, Duryodhana and his brothers took possessions of Draupadi, the chaste and devoted wife of the Pandavas, and insultingly tried to strip her naked before the entire assembly of princes and kings. Krishna's divine intervention saved her, but the gambling, which was rigged, cheated the Pandavas of their kingdom and forced them into 13 years of exile. Duryodhana wanted this. He made this gambling match, and after this they have to go to this exile for 13 years, for a long time. And after returning from exile, Pandavas, they ask about some land, some some kingdom from Duryodhana. But he refused this. And then Pandavas, even they ask about some mere 5 villages. They ask about some small, few villages where they can live and rule. But Duryodhana arrogantly replied that he wouldn't spare them enough land into which to drive a pin. It's envy. He didn't want that even small place that they have small 5 villages, because he had so much property, but he didn't want to give them this. And then after all of this, Pandavas was very tolerant, but after all this, everyone understood that war was inevitable. They needed to start this war. Yes, and all this Bhagavad Gita, it will happen at this battlefield. So, yes, we can read more. Nonetheless, as the princes of the world divided, some siding with the sons of Dhritarashtra, others with the Pandavas, Krishna himself took the role of messenger for the sons of Pandu and went to the court of Dhritarashtra to plead for peace. When his pleas were refused, war was now certain. Yeah, even Krishna, he didn't want that war will happen. He tried to make some attempts. I don't know. Does Putin try some attempts before start this war in Ukraine to make some, arrangement, send some Akrura, somebody to Ukraine or to NATO and discuss, okay, we see that war can be happen, but we don't want this. Can we make some arrangement? But Krishna didn't want the war will happen, because always war is means many people will die and they lost many relatives, and sometimes it's for a long time and people suffering. It's not auspicious. It's a difficult time. And Krishna sent Akrura from Dwaraka. He was living in Dwaraka at the time, and he sent Akrura. Maybe another place. Okay, this will be later. So, and in this way, Krishna, when war started, Krishna became charioteer of Arjuna, taking it upon himself to drive the fabled bowman's chariot. This brings us to the point at which Bhagavad Gita begins, with the 2 armies arrayed, ready for combat, and Dhritarashtra anxiously inquiring of his secretary Sanjaya, what did they do? Now we're coming to this verse. Kima Kurvata Sanjaya. And Prabhupada also this little bit mentioned, or maybe it's even not Prabhupada, the publishers of Bhagavad Gita. They mentioned about Bhagavad Gita, why we have this Bhagavad Gita as it is. Because so many translations, very Bhagavad Gita explained. Mostly Prabhupada was saying that these translators, they want to brush aside person Krishna and to make room for their own concepts and some speculations. And the history of the Mahabharata is taken as a quaint mythology, and Krishna becomes a poetic device for presenting the ideas of some anonymous genius, or at best he becomes a minor historical personage. People just want to use Krishna to present their own ideas. They say, but Kurukshetra, it means your body. They try to speculate different things. They don't say that it was historical event. It's just a real place where is Krishna speak with Arjuna. He was supreme God. He gave some instruction about surrender. No, he just speculated a lot and make some impersonal conceptions, because they don't believe in God, and they cannot represent Krishna properly. Bhagavad Gita здесь читаем. So, and this, but this translation Bhagavad Gita as it is, person Krishna is both the goal and the substance of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita say about this. And commentaries that accompanies it propose to direct the reader to Krishna rather than away from him. Bhagavad Gita thus becomes wholly consistent and comprehensible. Since Krishna is the speaker of the Gita and its ultimate goal as well, the Bhagavad Gita as it is presents this great scripture in its true terms. Yeah, it was like some history about this, why it's happened, and about this envy and so on. And now we're coming to first verse. You can read. Dhritarashtra uvacham dharmakshatre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mama kashpandavashchaiva kima kurvata sanjaya. So, Dhritarashtra uvacha dharmakshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamakam pandavashchaiva kima kurvata sanjaya. Dharmakshetre kurukshetre Dhritarashtra uvacha dharmakshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamakash pandavashchaiva kima kurvata sanjaya. So, we can make translation. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? And purport. Bhagavad Gita is a widely read theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya, glorification of the Gita. By the way, somebody watching? Is it? Yeah.
Sometimes 2, sometimes 6.
Oh. It with you, yeah? You. So, okay. Bhagavad Gita is a widely read theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya, glorification of the Gita. There it says that one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly, with the help of a person who is devotee of Sri Krishna, and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretations. The example is clear. Understanding is there in the Bhagavad Gita itself, in the way the teaching is understood by Arjuna, who heard the Gita directly from the Lord. If someone is fortunate enough to understand the Bhagavad Gita in that line of disciplic succession without motivated interpretation, then he surpasses all studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. It's inspiring, just by understanding Bhagavad Gita. One will find in the Bhagavad Gita all that is contained in other scriptures, but the reader will also find things which are not to be found elsewhere. That is a specific standard of the Gita. It is a perfect theistic science because it is directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. The topics discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, as described in the Mahabharata, form the basic principle for this great philosophy. It is understood that this philosophy evolved on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage from the immemorial time of the Vedic age. It was spoken by the Lord when he was present personally on this planet for the guidance of mankind. The word Dharmakshetra, a place where religious rituals are performed, is significant because on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present on the side of Arjuna. Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kurus, was highly doubtful about the possibility of his son's ultimate victory. In his doubt, he inquired from his secretary Sanjaya, what did they do? He was confident that both his sons and the sons of his younger brother Pandu were assembled in that field of Kurukshetra for a determined engagement of the war. Still, his inquiry is significant. He did not want a compromise between the cousins and brothers, and he wanted to be sure of the fate of his sons on the battlefield, because the battle was arranged to be fought at Kurukshetra, which is mentioned elsewhere in the Vedas as a place of worship. Even for the denizens of heaven, Dhritarashtra became very fearful about the influence of the holy place on the outcome of the battle. He knew very well that this would influence Arjuna and the sons of Pandu favorably, because by nature they were all virtuous. Sanjaya was a student of Vyasa, and therefore by the mercy of Vyasa, Sanjaya was able to envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra, even while he was in the room of Dhritarashtra. And so Dhritarashtra asked him about the situation on the battlefield. Both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belonged to the same family. But Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. He deliberately claimed only his sons as Kurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from the family heritage. One can thus understand the specific position of Dhritarashtra in his relationship with his nephews, the sons of Pandu. It is as in the paddy field, the necessary plants are taken out, so it is expected from the very beginning of these topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of religion Sri Krishna was present, the unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra's son, Duryodhana, and others would be wiped out, and the thoroughly religious persons, headed by Yudhishthira, would be established by the Lord. This is the significance of the words Dharmakshetra and Kurukshetra, apart from their historical and Vedic importance. So, yes, very nice news we can hear that it's like in summer, even this, how I call this, fairy tales, sometimes you can hear that, how you call this, kind will conquer evil. How you call this in English? Good will conquer evil. And here also there's good news that this prediction that righteous persons headed by Yudhishthira would be established by the Lord, and unwanted plans like Dhritarashtra's son, Duryodhana, and others would be wiped out and thoroughly wiped out. Bhagavad Gita explain about these things, and by reading these scriptures, even I think in Bhagavad Gita in the end there is words from Gandhi, and he was saying, I don't know, do you have this in this version? But I think it belongs to Gandhi, this words that when he said, when I have some difficulties in my life, by reading Bhagavad Gita I getting some hope, some like this. Is it his words? Mm-hmm. Yeah, getting some hope, and I become like enlightened, I become like inspired. Bhagavad Gita, yes, give to us this. I just by reading this Bhagavad Gita and other Prabhupada books, we can be inspired to follow what we follow and to be ensured that yes, Krishna will arrange and help to devotees who practice properly. Even I wanted to make a short class, but I didn't start yet. No, I started with this, but I will try to make it faster. But yeah, it takes some time. Everything takes time. So I just prepared this lecture according to Prabhupada lecture. Prabhupada was given in London, and Prabhupada saying some nice also moments about this verse. I'll try to make it briefly to maybe say something about this, to know what is in this verse. So this history, yes, there was Dhritarashtra, and there was some politics. Prabhupada say about this politics that they don't want Pandavas to become like how you call it, to have some property, and this war started. Prabhupada explained, yes, in material world always there is politics, and people envious to each other. Oh yes, this I mentioned. And Prabhupada explained also about this king's role in the ancient time, because the name of the king, it was Naradeva. Nara, it means like a human. Deva, it's like divine. Naradeva, it means like a human, God in human form. Because king, he representative of God. Even we all heard many times that like king, he like people even like worship kings like gods. In some countries, even nowadays, it's like it looks very ridiculous. But in some countries, like where dictatorship is present, like Turkmenistan or North Korea. Have you heard something about Turkmenistan or North Korea?
Turkmenistan, no, but Korea.
Yeah, in North Korea, many people heard like about these people who everyone they like take them like some they have like museums of their how you call this the dynasty of these owners, like these monuments, and they have some I don't know, maybe even some holidays was like where they have to show them respect and so on.
New Year as their birthday, like
Yeah,
birthday is for New Year for them.
yeah. In Turkmenistan also so many funny things happening. Sometimes I was reading something and it's like they like have a big monument, some special arrangement. If this leader he want to organize something, even some stupid what people don't want to follow, but everyone have to follow this. Yeah, but of course it's not as it should be, because real king, he representative of God. He helps to his to citizens. He protects citizens, protects them, and should give to them proper education, proper environment, everything what's help to them to make spiritual progress, to have a safe, nice life when people have enough everything what they like, but also they getting knowledge about meaning of life, about these things. They perform some yagyas, what's help to them make spiritual progress. In different yugas, different yagyas given to people. And Prabhupada was saying that formerly when there was fight between two kings, it was on the principle that who is giving good protection to the citizens, not for personal profit. When it's fight, people, even nowadays also coming to this war between Russia and Ukraine, because it's like very relevant. And when Putin started this, they called this like operation. They even didn't call this war. Nowadays people don't say things as they are. Even when America was have a war with Vietnam, I don't know, do they say this war or also say something like this? They have this like, in Russia they have a специальная военная операция. It means like special military operations, something like this. Yeah, and Putin, when he started this, he was saying, we was forced to start this war because people in Donbass, they suffering last about 10 years, because Donbass and the part of Ukraine what was separated from Ukraine, and there was different conflicts in this area, and people was dying there, not much like nowadays in Ukraine, of course. But Putin, when started he said that we started this war because we want to protect these people. Nowadays also leaders, they like make a show of this. They just they use this sentiments of people, because people, even you like leader of the country, and if you start a war, people have to some people have to go to war, and some mothers they will lose their like children, sons, and they have to have some inspiration, and leaders say something like, okay, we have this war because we're trying to protect. Of course it's difficult to understand who is right, who is not, because in Kali Yuga everything is so like So of course a lot of lies happens, and leaders are just make a show, and they like saying we protect them, we have to start this war because otherwise this Ukraine it wanted to become part of the NATO, and Russian maybe Putin he was thinking that we cannot allow this because otherwise Russia will be in danger, because if Ukraine become part of NATO, then this like it become closer to Russia, and they can attack easier Russia and so on. Well, maybe okay, it's some politics.
It's not like we should try.
Yeah. I don't know much about this politics. I just heard something. I don't know much because I'm not so smart to understand all these things, because there's so many. Even nowadays, some very smart people, they go very much into politics. It's even sometimes it's quite pity, because some nice leaders, not leaders, some like intelligent people. Previously, for example, in Russia, it's often intelligent people. They like they connected to politics. But previously, for example, we in Russia there is, for example, there's many nice writers, some nice musicians, or some like very nice scholars who made a lot for in this time. And of course, all this materialistic and but still, it's like nowadays we don't have even this. Mostly people they like just enjoying life. Of course, they're developing some corporations, some institutions, and so on. Some of them dedicated to their fields. But I mean, it's quite pity that nowadays some people become very much into politics, and and they start to criticize, because in Kali Yuga so many lie, and there is so many possibilities to criticize others, because so many lie happens all the time. And Prabhupada says that before it was like this: two kings, they fight only because of protection of citizens, not for personal profit. And who is able to give good protection, life, security for life and property, he should become king. For these reasons, Dhritarashtra and his sons, they were jealous. Now they could give protection to the And Prabhupada explains that Dhritarashtra was jealous, and he's saying that how he could give protection to the citizens. And Prabhupada says also that nowadays all these politicians, they are also jealous. As I understand, jealous in this context, it means envy. Yeah. Because if you translate jealous to Russian, we have this word revность. But this word, it means it's mostly used like husband jealous to wife, or wife jealous to husband. I mean, if somebody pay too much attention to your wife, you become jealous, or opposite. In Russian, this jealous, it means about this. But in English, you use this word also about, like, it's connected to envy. Yeah, it's about envy. Yeah. So and when I was preparing, I wanted to say, I forgot some point. Prabhupada mentions that if somebody jealous, he cannot give protection to citizens. It means that even if, for example, if you're jealous, it means you envy, you use some lie to cover something, to like nowadays we have this election, many lies in this election, people just falsificate many elections. Yeah, they not always can take this, like, make it, how you call this, fair. Yeah, that you just play game by rules, but they want to cheat. And it means about, Prabhupada said this about envy, that if you envious to somebody, if you cannot just allow somebody to have what they have. If somebody has something, but you're envious, you say you shouldn't have this. You like somebody's phone or somebody else, you say, oh, it shouldn't belong to you. I am like temple commander. You have such a nice phone. You have to give this phone to me. because you don't know how to use it properly. It's just maybe some strange example, but
It's quite helpful.
yeah, but it's like how envy works. It can be very like
Maybe actually.
you have such a nice computer. You shouldn't have this. My computer not so good. Maybe we can change. Yeah, is this envy about this? And Prabhupada says that if you envy, how you can give protection to citizens? Because if you envy to somebody, then you will like. Prabhupada says that nowadays politicians, they just mostly have interest with their own party politics. They don't care much about citizens. Some of them like trying to help, but also if you go to Russia especially, it's a good example. In Russia even, they have a lot of, how you call this, gas. No, they was selling a lot of gas to Europe. But if you go to the,
Oil?
no, not oil, gas, like this, for heating, how you call this, gasoline. Oh, no, not gasoline.
Gas,
It's gas.
It's gas.
You call it gas in English?
It's like condensed.
What is air? What is?
Yeah,
It's not a liquid. It's like air. What's used for like when we were stove when we use stove. Gas. Yeah, gas. And I saying this in Russia, a lot of gas. They selling a lot of gas to was selling a lot of to Europe. Nowadays not much because of all these sanctions. But in Russia, many people outside of Moscow area and some other like how you call this in some other regions of Russia, they don't have enough. Even some people who live there, not everyone have this gas because they even some of them quite poor and they cannot have enough money to because to connect the gas to your home you have to pay for all these things. And it's not always possible, and many of them don't have even gas. And there is even some movies, like documentary movies, that explain about this. That many people in Russia they don't have enough gas. I mean, like these leaders, they don't care much about because they spend a lot of money for wars, for different things, but they don't have money to give to some like babushka and dedushka who don't have much money. They cannot spend money for them to help them to just have a gas, to have like some standard necessities for life, to have a comfortable life. Yeah, Europe situation much better because people like here is like democracy, people is more care about each other, but here is also opposite things happens, like different crazy things about this homosexual transgens, and you go to the street and you sometimes see everything loved. You can do what you like because we live in democracy. Yeah, it's Kali Yuga. There is different sides of these things. So time is coming, and maybe Prabhupada mentioned about these things, about this enviousness and some different things. He mentioned about also Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra. He mentioned about this place that Kurukshetra, it was like a religious place. And Prabhupada mentioned why this so became religious. Like he mentioned example about like temple. Like we have this temple. Previously, as I heard, this home belongs to gypsies. Yeah. It wasn't like some spiritual Dharma Kshetra. But now it became Dharma Kshetra because now Krishna is here. Krishna make this difference. Before, gypsies was using for different purpose this place. I don't know, maybe they was collecting some iron here and was selling this, or make some rituals, I don't know. Black magic. Or just drinking some and relaxing, looking TV. Yeah, nowadays it's different. You don't look TV, don't drink beer. You don't drink beer? Yeah, because Krishna is here. It became different place. And even today, these two Indians came. maybe not Indians, maybe Indians. I remember during lunch, after lunch they came, and as I heard, they also came after 4. After you saw them?
Again,
Yeah. Why they came here? Because it's an auspicious place. It's a Dharma Kshetri. They understand this somehow or other. Maybe they don't believe in everything, but they feel that this is a special place because Krishna is here, and if you pray here, Krishna will hear you. It's more auspicious for you to, make some. If something happening in your life, to try to ask God to participate, to take part in something. It's more auspicious to come to some good, to temple. Kurukshetra the same. It was the same Kurukshetra, this place where Krishna was present, and this war happened in this auspicious place. And as we read in this purport, Prabhupada says that good will conquer the evil because Krishna is there and Krishna will arrange. And Dhritarashtra was asking, Kim akurvata Sanjaya? What will they do? And Prabhupada also gave example that if you not doubtful, you will not ask this. He gave this example. If you somebody give you some nice meal, you will come, and it will be stupid to ask, what will you do? Of course, you will eat this nice feast, nice meal. But because Dhritarashtra, he was doubtful about this, what will happen, and he asked this, Kim akurvata Sanjaya. He asked his, how you call this, secretary, about what will they do, because he was doubtful. He didn't, he wasn't sure about what will happen.
Because it was Dharma Kshetra?
This also one of the reasons. It was Dharma Kshetra. Other reason also. I don't remember all these reasons. There is different reasons. We learned this when we learned this Bhakti Shastri. Yeah? You remember these reasons? Or some of them? Dharma Kshetra. Krishna was there. Also this when they was conscious, they different signs of victory. Different signs.
Shiva gave him a bow
But why wouldn't they fight? Is it because?
Why wouldn't they fight? He was doubtful. I don't know exactly. Even we can see that Arjuna, he didn't want to fight. He was doubtful. Even Arjuna was doubtful. We will see Gajabha reading 2nd chapter, maybe even 1st chapter. Because what?
At 7 we have to
Sorry, I made this long. I like exactly. I really like short lectures. Sorry for that. I have to make it long. And we have few minutes. If you have some to add, please.
I have one quote by Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
It's nice that we not in Belarus, not in Russia. I say something against Putin because he usually say this in Russia.
We're not sure how it's going to end up for you.
Not very auspicious.
We'll see. I have a nice quote about war in general from Morning War Conversations. I'm just going to find it this second. Just Prabhupada gives a very nice perspective. Hope I will find it again. So it's in Geneva 74. He says that everyone comes as a guest in the womb of this mother and lives here for approximately 50 years. Like he gives somehow 50 years. And he is claiming it is mine. And he says, when it become yours, it means that everything he sees, he starts claiming this is mine.
Child?
Yeah, anyone who comes out, he identifies everything as his own property. So Prabhupada said, the land was so long time ago before your birth, how he can be yours now? But they have no sense. They claim it is mine and fight. My line, my nation, my family, my society. And in this way, wasting time. Prabhupada says that this type of war is waste of time.
Yeah, instead of doing spiritual progress,
Exactly, yeah.
they spend so much energy,
Yeah.
resources.
Yeah.
But Arjuna was making spiritual progress.
Yeah, because Krishna was there. Yeah.
Because he was fighting for a right
Krishna.
purpose.
Yeah. This type of war, I believe it's not possible to compare it with the Kurukshetra war.
Yeah.
No way.
Nowadays we don't have leaders who
Yeah.
can give nice.
Anyway, there's one more
Principles.
question online.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mataji Mohini Shakti asked the question. Okay, here it goes. You mentioned this tendency of fooling other people, like when the government fools the citizens, telling lies, and this tendency to deception in general. I wonder about this tendency within our hearts. How do we deal with our own tendency to deceive ourselves and choosing not to see some things within that maybe need to be fixed but are uncomfortable to look at? Like various masks we put on ourselves, or the tendency to pride, or something shameful we might be afraid to admit to ourselves. It means internal things.
I didn't get everything. I just.
Uh,
Is it from Facebook?
It's
Messenger.
She sent
Messenger.
Uh,
Send you.
it's-
Can you say in short about the
yeah, so
my?
she's saying, about the ruler who likes to fool the citizens, and how about fooling ourselves, she asks.
Fooling means cheating?
Yeah, we're cheating ourselves, like we pretend like to fool others because we hide something inside ourselves, some fault or some, some,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that. We're afraid of being like, exposed our weaknesses or something.
Yeah.
So we pretend what we are not.
Yes, thank you for question. It happens, of course. We have this purificatory process, and when we start this process, some mud and different things will come from us, and it's not like not just immediately we will become very pure, that we will become very much sincere, very much honest. Of course, different things will come. But even I was reading recently the story about Dhruva Maharaja. And Prabhupada, in the end of the story, he mentioned that even if a devotee, he has some, how to say this, materialistic goals. But it's not a big problem, because in the end, he will get everything required. He will get everything nice. And even for me, it was inspiring, because sometimes you can see somebody. Okay, you see somebody and you think, he's not sincere. He look at him. At least I have this tendency to criticize others. You know this very well. And you can see that, he in tamaguna, or he doing something and not focusing good in service on something else. We can see this because we also can have this in us. And what I wanted to say, I mean, this is not a problem, because if somebody take this process, even he have maybe somebody, of course, we all not necessarily 100% pure devotees, not necessarily that we not karma or jnana, mishra, bhakti. We can have this, but because we practice, if we practice properly, all this process was given to us by Prabhupada. All this coming from morning program to reading Prabhupada books to making some service, preaching and so on, offering prasadam to Krishna, different things, that we will become purified, and in the end Krishna will open himself to us, and this tendency to cheat, it will disappear. It will be less and less, because sometimes even we cheat ourselves not consciously. Sometimes we cheat ourselves unconsciously, just because we're not ready to accept everything right now. we say, okay, I cannot right now chant 16 rounds. I cannot right now, spend such time for Krishna because I have this to do and this to do, and I have my dog, my grandmother. I have, so many things. I have to do I have to care of this with this. Yeah, this is my answer. Maybe somebody want to say something else. Yeah, we can go to it. Okay, Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna, all of you ki Jai. Haribol.
Yes.
Recently, 2 days ago, there was very fire. I was in the third floor, and I didn't. I hear such a very loud notification. I don't know what is happening here. I was thinking some words started. There was singing very loud. What's the name of the voice? Advaita Shari.
I don't know. Why not? Yeah. No? You play Mridanga? I can't play. Dini Vadana Ujjvala Sevanam Kore Dalamala Sila Shukanayada Megadada Prestaya Bhutaya Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Krishna Prestaya Bhutaya Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada Paramahamsa Prabhupada Saraswata Saraswati Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. ISKCON Devaki Priyachari Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Prabhupada Kacharya Ashtotra Shastri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Guru Parampara Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dhama Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Amatunam Ki Jai, Shri Hanuman Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai, Bhagavad Gita Spasitam Ki Jai, Transcendental Shulas Prabhupada, Srimati Jnana Jivanda Spasitam Ki Jai. Dai Gaura Premananda Sasha Chessi Bhaktivedanta Swami